Welcome to the Book of Enoch, where we're going through the Book of Enoch verse by verse to get a better understanding of what it'll be like in the days of Noah. And where we are at this point is the watchers have laid with women and given rise to a race of Nephilim who have consumed mankind, mutilated mankind, even eaten mankind. And now God is divvying out punishment for the watchers and their offspring. And we're just going to pick it up where we left off. God's continuing to kind of give out this proclamation, so to say. So we're going to pick it up in 15, starting in verse 4. And though ye were wholly spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourself with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh, and as children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also do who die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, that they may impregnate them, and begot children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting to them on the earth. But you were formerly spiritually living the eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you, for as for the spiritual ones of the heaven, in the heaven is their dwelling. All right, I'm going to pause there for a second, because it's interesting in that, you know, when you kind of correlate the similarities between angels and humans, there's a lot of similarities, and we've talked about that recently, in that when they're sad, they sob. When they're scared, they tremble. That sort of thing. They have emotions. And their bodies react physically to those emotions. But they were clearly not meant to have wives. And that's an interesting aspect. Humans were meant to have wives, or spouses. It was really kind of one of the first things when God made man, and he was perfect man in the Garden of Eden. He gave him a job to tend and keep the garden and name the animals. And he was lonely. There wasn't anything found for him, so God made him a woman, and that became his wife. And the symbolism of a marriage goes all the way to Jesus Christ, from that moment all the way to Jesus Christ and beyond. But that was not meant for the watchers, and here's why. And though ye were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also do who die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, that they may impregnate them, and begot children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting to them on earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you. For as for the spiritual ones of the heaven, in heaven is their dwelling. And that's why, because the spiritual angels, even though they watch the earth as watchers, these watchers were imprisoned in the earth. But before that moment that they defiled themselves with women, they could, their dwelling place was heaven. So when we dwell on earth and we're lonely here, it's because we are not physically with God. We're not in the throne room of God with him present at that moment. The Spirit dwells with us, and it keeps us companions, and it gives us information and strategy, and tells us what to do and what not to do. But they're literally in heaven. That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. They have their companionship. They have no need of companionship because they're eternal, and their dwelling place is with God, literally. And this is why they were not meant to be on the earth raising children, working the land, that sort of thing, like the humans did. It's a very significant difference. Let's keep going. And now the giants who are produced from the spirit and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men and from holy watchers, is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. Because what they gave rise to was not what God intended. And that's really the biggest piece of all of this. As for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of the earth, which were born upon the earth, on the earth shall be their dwelling. So here, my spirit was born on this earth. So my dwelling place is earth. Their spirit was born in heaven, so their dwelling place is in heaven. And that's really the biggest problem with all this, is that their dwelling place is not earth. So they gave rise to children they can't really tend to or keep or take care of or raise. They're immortal. They will live forever. Their children will not. They will live forever. Their wives will not. This is the problem of the watchers laying with women, is it just gave rise to what God looks at and calls it literally evil. As for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of the earth, which were born upon the earth, on the earth shall be their dwelling. So there you go. There's really, why God said, angels, you can't have wives. And here's why: because your dwelling place is not earth. You can't have these children and raise them. Your dwelling place is heaven. That's where your spirit was born. Whereas in our spirits were born here. So this is our dwelling place. And God looks at it and says, this is good. But when he looks at what the watchers did, that's nothing but evil in his eyes. So there you go. Any thoughts or insight on any of this, definitely put that below. I do want to take a moment and say, most people watch this channel, they're not subscribers. Click that subscribe button. It greatly increases the algorithm and our ability to get these messages out. That link is below. But the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So never hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.